Here is the plan. During this time, I want you to spend this next week trying to come up with what is the classroom of the future. And what we're going to do is we're going to use SketchUp to do that. Now, I know that all of you have different kinds of computers. Some of you only have netbooks. Some of you have computers with hard drives that you could download SketchUp on. But I wanted you to be aware that SketchUp is available online for free. So if you go to sketchup.com, okay, and from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to their products section, and I'm going to go to SketchUp Free. And in here, I'm just going to click on Start Modeling. And this is now going to ask me to have an account. Now, I can just use my CFA account right here, sign in with Google, or if you want to set up your own Trimble account, you can do that as well. I'm just going to sign in with Google. There's my account right there. And you can see now I'm logging into SketchUp. So I've already made a demo of this for you just to kind of get you an idea. So we can take a look at that real quick, and then I will give you some pointers along the way. So if we take a look at my classroom of the future, you can see that what I've done is I've created these little tables. There's a display, computer card up here. I've got a loft up at the top where students can go and meet and talk and whatever. I've got some storage and whatnot sort of down here underneath the loft. So, basically just trying to think about what might be kind of fun to have in a classroom and how, what would be a good way to study. Just so you know, there is no warehouse on this. So everything you do, you're going to have to build yourself. And that's what's going to make this a little bit challenging. So here's a couple of tips and tricks that you can do when doing this. So first of all, remember that if you've got a mouse plugged in, you can use the wheel to roll up and down and zoom in and out like that. Okay, you can also click on the wheel and you can orbit around your model like that, so you can see different areas. And if you hold down the shift button and hold down the wheel, you can pan side to side. So by using those buttons, you can kind of see all the way around your model and get different looks for it. Okay. As far as making things go, what I would suggest that you do is when you design your room, I would just go ahead over here to the side and notice that most of these buttons have little triangles by them, which means that you've got you got other tools underneath them. So you're going to have to just keep in mind that while you might not see the tool that you want, it might be hidden under one of these other tools. So there's push pull, there's follow me, there's offset and stuff like that. Under the rectangle, I've got my circles and my 3D text here. Okay, so I can just click the rectangle. I can draw out my room. Now, if I know exactly how big I want the room to be, let's say that I wanted it to be 50 feet by 60 feet, I can type in 50 and then the single quote, comma, 60 single quote, and you can see down here it's showing up. Then once I press enter, it will resize that room for me. And so now I have a 50 foot by 60 foot room. What I would then do is I would use your push pull. Now I'd pull it up. Notice down here it's giving you a distance. I would say somewhere between 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet is a standard room. I made mine 20 feet so that I have room for the loft. So again, I would just type in 20 and then that single quote. It will raise that to 20 feet. I can now go ahead and take my arrow, select the top, and delete that. Now, you can see that I gave my wall some thickness. So if you wanted to put your door in, I would go ahead and just put your door in wherever you want your door to go. And whatever size you want your door to go. So if I want my door to look like that, I will click on the arrow, click on my door, hit delete on my keyboard, not backspace, delete. And then you can use your offset button, which I think is hidden under here. Right there is offset. And I can click on the floor and I can create an offset and make a slightly different sized, just a little bit bigger portion of the floor. Come back here to my push-pull and pull this up into the same height. And now my wall does have some thickness. You can see it did cover my door, so I can go in here and delete that. And then I can come over here and just sort of continue that, drawing in some lines until I get rid of it. Okay. So again, if I just draw like a line here to connect these two areas, and a line here to connect these two areas, okay, I'll be able to start creating this door. This is not necessary if you don't want to do it. Don't feel like you have to add that outer wall. Whoops, missed that. That's completely up to you. But that's something that you can certainly do if you want to. The important part is actually going inside and decorating and stuff like that. To do this, you're going to have to start to make your own furniture. So what I would do if I were you, if I'm making a table, decide on the shape of the table. If you just want it to be a rectangle or a circle, draw it out. Okay, so there's my table. Use push-pull and pull it up just a little bit. Click on the wheel of your mouse and look at the bottom side of your table. Okay, and what I would do is I would be totally honest with you, is I would just take my square tool. I would draw a square underneath here. Maybe zoom in a little bit to see it. And then just take your arrow button, click on that, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and now I've got another leg the exact same size, Control V again, and you can see I can kind of align these up, and Control V again, alright, and then just use push-pull, pull these legs down, alright, and so I might pull this leg down 3 feet, so I'll just type in 3 and then the single quote to get 3 feet, and then do that with all the other legs, so just pull this down, 3 single quote, pull this down, 3 single quote, and then pull this one down, 3 single quote, and enter, right? So now I've got my table. What I want to do is I want to group this so that I can't mess it up anymore. Obviously, too, if you want to color it first, so I can come over here to the paint bucket, and you can see that if I click on this little search, I can see all the different sort of surfaces that I can put on. So I might come here to wood, scroll down here, just grab the wood that I want, paint it wood like this, okay? I would do all the faces, okay, and I'd probably need to rotate this around and see other faces as well, okay? Hold down shift while I do this so I can see the other sides. And you get the idea. So once I have my table all decorated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my arrow button and I'm going to drag around it like this, right click, so I've selected everything, right? So you can see when I do this, everything has that sort of blue outline to it. Okay, so that means all of these faces and edges have been selected. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say make group. And now you can see they're all connected so that when I go to move this, just click on the move tool here. When I go to move this, it all moves at one. And if I blend it with another part of my model, I can still pull it out. It doesn't become part of that model. So now I can go ahead and move this into my room and I've got my table. And I can see I can raise it. This is one of the hard parts about SketchUp, is getting it to go correctly up and down. So it's trying to push it back for me. There it goes. And bring it down just a little bit. I might need to change the angle that I'm looking at until I can get it down onto the floor. So now I've got my table in my room. To do a chair, it's going to be something a little bit similar. All I'm going to do is I'm going to again go whatever shape you want your chair to be. So I'm going to choose my square again. And I'm going to draw it a little bit longer than it is wide. Use my push-pull. There we go. And pull this up just a little bit. Grab my pencil. And I'm going to take my pencil and draw just a line along the back. Push-pull. And I'm going to yank this up a little bit. And you can see my chair starting to happen. And then the same thing with the legs. I'm just going to go back to my square tool. I'm going to draw a leg here. Okay, that might be a little bit big, so I'll draw it again, make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, good enough. Arrow key, select that, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Paste a leg, paste a leg, paste a leg. If it doesn't line up perfectly, that's okay. I'll probably make these legs a little bit shorter so it fits under the table, so maybe 2 feet this time. So bring this down, 2 apostrophe, right? Bring this down, 2 apostrophe. Bring this down, 2 apostrophe. And bring this down to apostrophe. And so now I've got my chair. So same kind of idea. I don't want to just move this into place. I want to group it first. So I go to my arrow and I just sort of select the whole thing. Right click on that, make group. All right. And now I can go ahead and move my chair. I probably should have decorated it. So I'll click on the little piece of wood, decorate the whole thing in wood like that. Go to the move tool. I can move it into place. Okay, same kind of deal. I probably have to switch the camera around a little bit to get it to actually go up in the air. And then pull it underneath my table. Okay, and I can just start now copying my chair. Okay, so I might move this over just a little bit and then Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And now I have a second chair and need to adjust my camera angle a little bit and bring it down, go down. change my camera angle again, bring it down. If it goes into the floor a little bit, that's okay. And then kind of put it into place. And what I probably would do now is take my arrow key, hold down Shift and select all of these guys, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and now I've got a whole table and chair. And so that might be the easier thing to do. You can even right click on this and make this whole thing a group. And that way your tables and chairs will always be together, okay? If you ever need to break the group so that you can access the individual parts, so basically you're just going to select the model that you want to do, so there. Right click on this and do explode, and now you can see it's breaking it up, and I could break it up further back into the individual faces and points. So now I'm getting my tables and chairs going on, and it's just a question of creating the room, right? So, you know, when I did the loft, all I really did is I just drew 2 lines sort of up at the topish area, just drew one like that, right? And then another like this. That's a little bit thicker than what I did, but now I can just use push-pull and bring this out, and there's the beginnings of my loft. To do the stairs, I just drew the stairs on the side of the wall. So it's just a series of lines like this, right? Down, over, down, okay? And I'm doing this a lot faster than I normally do. I'd normally be a little bit more precise. And maybe then just bring a line down like this, okay? And then you can push-pull this out, and there's my stairs. The reason I put that outer walls, you can see what it's doing here like that, right? I don't care about that. If you want that, if you're not worried about that, I'm not worried about that. You can always try to take your pencil tool and fill those in like this, and see if you can't get them to close back up. So you're welcome to do that if you like. But again, I'm not worried about the outside of your room. I'm worried more about what I see on the inside. So once you get your room laid out, whatever you want, whatever size you want, you know, maybe you want to have your own bathrooms off to the side. Maybe you want to have a lounge area off to the side. You know, you can put like a curved room out here. So I might take my 2-point arc and draw a 2-point arc and sort of, well, that was on the wrong side. That's not going to work. But you get kind of the idea, right? You can add little rooms off to the side if you want a quiet study area for your room. Go ahead and don't think about budget, don't think about size. Be creative, have some fun, see what you come up with. When you are done, you will click Save up here, all right? And if you head back to, basically it's still saving, so I don't want to go too far. Now it's saved. If you go back to your home file, your home page, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to click on these 3 dots. I'm sorry. Click on this and open this. We're going to go back in here. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to save an image of this, okay? So I'm going to click on this folder, and I'm going to go to Export, and you want to export this as a PNG, all right? So you're going to save that image. So this is going to let me kind of pick how I want this image to look. I'm then going to hit Export PNG. Make sure that you are showing me an angle that you want me to see. So if I wanted to focus on this room, all right, and maybe I want to see this angle here, all right, this is what I want you to see. I would hit Export PNG, all right? Just hit continue. It'll ask you to save it into a location and a name. Okay, so we're just going to, it's just going to ask me to download it. So I'm just going to hit save. And then it will put it in my downloads folder. So depending on what browser you're using, you're going to want to look for that. If nothing else, you can go down and search for your downloads folder. So if I just come down here and just type in download, okay, there's my downloads folder there. And I should see my, oh, I don't. I went to the wrong downloads folder, so I'm going to this PC and downloads, and so it obviously downloaded somewhere else. So I probably need to figure out where it downloaded. I can click on this little folder here, click on that folder right there. Oh, there it is. It is Classroom. So it was there the whole time. So Classroom 1, and then if you want to email that to me, I'd love to see the work that you've done. So otherwise than that, have some fun. If you've got questions, email me. If you're having issues, email me. And we will see you all later.